Hello and welcome to another Oblivion Plays video, and welcome to Rome International Airport and the beautiful but ancient MD-80. Bit of a different stream today, so we're branching away from the UK and kind of Western Europe, and we're heading down to Italy and hopping across to Corfu. Relatively short flight of only about just over an hour and 10 minutes in this beautiful aircraft by Rotate. Let's hop into the cockpit. Bit of a caveat, I haven't flown this aircraft in quite some time, so you have to bear with me as I kind of familiarise myself again with the aircraft. But first things first, actually, let's just do the load and fuel and everything first. Let me just get the flight plan up. So, just make sure actually we're in pounds. We'll just switch over to pounds now. 169 passengers, £37,000 worth of passenger. Let's pop this in. We'll kind of go relatively 50-50. So we'll go 75 in each and see if that works out. 28. That's 150, not 170. What am I talking about? It's 85 in each, isn't it? 31, okay. And then we'll add in a little bit of cargo. So we're still looking for about 5,000. We'll go 2,000 here. Just try and balance it a bit. Can we not go up that high? There we go. So where are we up to now? So that's 37. So a little bit more. 7847. So we'll just knock off 500 at the front. 347. That's pretty bang on. Okay. See if the fuel balances the centre of gravity off. Otherwise, I might have to just rejig things a little bit. So total fuel today is 14,872. So I was just checking the status of the stream because it was a little bit jittery earlier. Right, so where was I? Fuel 14,872. Trip fuel of 8563. And that's pretty bang on for the approximate flight time. So the centre of gravity of the gross weight is actually not too bad. It's just the zero fuel weight, which is understandable. I'm assuming therefore it's okay, because obviously with the landing weight and the gross weight being okay, that's suitable for takeoff. So we'll load everything and close that down for now, and we'll switch on the battery. So it's kind of hidden away just behind the switch. I'll go down a little bit just so you can see a bit clearer. You pull it all the way down, and then there's like an additional stage to turn the battery on, which is what you twist the and twist and lock it so it isn't accidentally turned off. So I'll just get back to the info page so I'm going to make sure I'm doing everything correctly. Yep, so battery's on, and then we'll switch on the ground external power. And then we'll just turn on our flight displays, just get rid of the yoke for now, because it's kind of a bit in the way. So they're here, the light controls, just turn that up to full. Same for the like the map display, and then do the same for the FMC. So the flight information is up to date. Let me just get a little bit closer for you guys. So it expires on the 10th of October, so we've got loads of time on that. Let's just put in the reference airport just so we can start lining the IRSs. So it's L Lima Romeo Foxtrot. I'll try the gate, but it doesn't usually work. Let me just remind myself which gate we're at. 509. It's not even let me input it, so that's not promising. No. Right, so... oh, I need to align them, don't I? That would explain it. So they are up here. And then, yeah, so then we can put it... go away. And then we can put it into the IRS input section. And then head over to our route page. So it's LIRF to LGKR. Runway. So we're using kind of like the Rome. Oh, actually, I can show you on the airport map. It's kind of like a H pattern, the runways. Let's go to the airport page just so you can see what I'm talking about. So it's quite a big airport. So it's kind of like a broken H. Actually, so the landing runway today, according to Flight Radar 24, is what is that runway? 16 left, and then they're actually taking off from 25, runway 25. The numbers there, and that's what PFPX gave us, and that's actually correct. So PFPX was actually pretty accurate for once. So put runway 25 into the flight computer, and then we'll put in our departure. We'll put in a holding flight number of just a fictional flight number of 002. And then we haven't done a company route, so we'll put everything in manually. So the departure today is the Eclo 7R. So that's the first one. Runway 25, and then the transition we're not going to input. So we'll just go to that. So Eclos, Akuno. Have I selected the right one? Might be that I need to do the correct transition. Let me just have a look at that again. Akuno. Eclos. Lelsu. Seems to be a couple more extra waypoints, which is why we've ended up. What we might just do is just I'll try this one and see if that's the correct one. Yeah, there we go. Right, and then go to the next page so we can carry on with our route, which is L5 to Tinix, and then N982. To Insox, L995. I'm just going to move my camera up a little bit just so it's a bit clearer which key I'm supposed to be pressing. So L995 to Alaxi. And then direct to Akamo. Just make sure we got the right one. Let me just get the coordinates for that one. So N411, so yes, it's the first one, unsurprisingly. And then direct to Nosto. There's only one of them apparently, and that's the start of our arrival, so we'll put in our arrival now as well. That's the Nost 1 Papa. And we are landing on runway 16. Do they not have an ILS? Doesn't look like they have ILS at Corfu. I'll just get the charts up and see which one's the best. So LGKR. Yeah, so they're all kind of VOR approaches. Okie dokie. Let me just have a look at the airport. I wonder if it's trying to, if PFPX has slept up and put us on. Yeah, it has. So we'll just quickly replan that and switch over to runway 34 because that's runway 16. I don't think they're really used just with the mountains and the position in relation to the airport. So let's just quickly open PFPX. Give me a second. I should have checked that one. I just thought with being one runway it couldn't go wrong, but it's managed it. Okay, so let's get PFPX up and we'll just quickly replan that. Might just need to change our weights a bit, but it shouldn't have made a huge amount of difference to our flight plan. Okay, I'm just getting it up. Sorry you can't see this. So runway 34, and then we'll compute that flight and release it. It's just doing its calculations. It should be, if anything, we should actually be having less fuel because it's pretty much just straight in rather than having to kind of go all the way around. Okay, so that's that plan. Let's print the flight plan off. And save that. And then let's get that back open again so we can sort that out. Okay, let's have a quick look at fuel. So the new plan's saying we need fuel of 14,882. Yeah, so there's only like £10 difference in fuel, so that's all fine. Okay, so let's go down to the flight plan and we'll actually have a look at what the arrival is. Just jig my windows around. There we go. So it is. So it's the same star, but we're just going into runway 34. And then if we look at the charts, we'll just see the one that's most sensible. So there's quite a few VOR approaches for runway 34. Actually, if we go back to the arrival page. So we are the Nost 1 Papa. And let's have a little look. So we're going to be coming in from Nosto, from that direction, and then if we switch over, just so I can kind of visualize our approach. Our last waypoint's VMAT. That doesn't look quite right to me. So we'll try a different one. Sorry if you can hear that in the background, that's my neighbour with his epic car starting up. Try X-ray. That doesn't look quite right either. Let me just refresh my memory of the... So it's VMAT, so it's kind of from a southerly direction. Kind of from this direction, isn't it? Okay, let's see how that kind of looks almost right. come back to that one. Victor. That's also quite a strong contender. So that's the whole point. So again, another potential. We'll just go with the. Actually, this is the simplest one. So what we'll do is we'll go with Tango. I think that was Tango, wasn't it? Yeah. GAR, is that the right one? Yeah, and then it's. Well, actually, we'll leave off the GAR because then we should just go straight in. Let me just see if that how that appears on our legs page. We'll just close some of these down because otherwise we're getting a crazy number of charts up. Okay, so go to the legs page, activate, and then we'll go to the right display on the map. We'll step that through, just have a little look. We've got a really weird departure where we kind of go around. VMAT, okay, let's get that in there. Yeah, so that's basically a straight in, so that works quite nicely actually. The rest of the weird like curly lines and stuff are just the missed approach and things. So that works out quite nicely. We might just need to do kind of our some manual vectors as we get a bit closer, and then we can join in on the ILS. Okay, so we'll just go back to the map display on the on there, and then let's put in our weights. So we'll just get this up just for reference. So zero fuel weight was 115.3. Reserves 3.0. Cost index of 20. Is our fuel loaded? Yes. And then fuel pounds 14.8, 14.9. I'll come back to that. I might need to reread the tutorial I want to do there. Anyway, so our cruise altitude is 350. Sorry, I just trying to sort out the stream there. Cruise winds are, when we're at 350, it's at 073 at 20 knots. Top of cruise outside air temperature is -50. We'll just see what the transition altitude is. Quickest way to do that if you have Navigraph is just to go to one of the approach charts and it gives you the transition altitude, which is 6,000. Right, let me just go onto the tutorial page and we'll just work out what we need to put in for the fuel pounds scheduled. Right, okay, so fuel weight and burn schedule must be entered first in the form of xxx/n or xxx/a. So we'll go for the normal. So that's 14.9 slash n. See if that, there we go. Right, gross weight, so that fits. Yes, excellent. Execute that. Takeoff page. Outside air temperature today is 26, nice and warm at Rome. Not as hot as it can be at Rome, but yeah, not bad. And then put in our V speeds, pretty fast. And that's put the bugs in the right place. And that's pre-flight complete. So we'll put in V2 for our speed indicator, just as a reference. And altitude of 3.5. Put the flight directors on, which is synchronized on both sides. And then I'll go back to where we were up to in the kind of pre-flight setup. Let me just see if everything's on board now. So a few more seconds for the cargo to come on board, and then we can close the doors. Okay, so we've done the instrumental lights. Put the yaw damper on. Just need to put the emergency lights and things on as well. I'll just do like a flow. Just give me 1 sec. It's just kind of getting myself familiarised again with where everything is. So that's the emergency lights to armed. No smoking and seatbelt signs on. Don't need any of the anti-ice. It's absolutely boiling here, so no need for that. Turn on the fuel pumps. Probably don't actually need to put centre pumps on. I don't think we've got any fuel in our centre pumps, centre fuel tanks, which are here. Yeah, no, nothing in our centre fuel, so we can leave them off. We'll leave the APU as it is at the moment because we're not going to switch it on until we're ready to go to save our fuel. So yeah, that's the nav. Anti-skid's armed. Yaw damper's on. We won't do the saw test. Logo light doesn't need to go on because it's not dark. Oops. So this just needs to go to rat probe, and that's for the... does it go all the way around? There we go. That just turns on the probe heat and the stall heaters. Windshield anti-ice. Maybe that is a standard thing then. Maybe just turn that on. It's probably similar with like the other aircraft where you just heat up the windscreen essentially just for in case there's a bird strike. So we've done all these bits. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just reading through the tutorial, just make sure I'm not missing out anything, because like I said, I haven't flown this in a little while. Turn on the supply switches for the air conditioning, which is here. And then I'm assuming we're going to have to do our cabin pressure. Alright, let's have a little closer look at this. So... Ooh, can we switch this over? I wonder if we can switch that over from inches of mercury. Probably not. Let's see if Avitype gives it in both. I can't remember whether it does or not. It doesn't. But I'm sure there'll be a setting for that. Nope. There must be a way to switch that into HPA rather than inches of mercury. I wonder if it's down here in the in this panel. So you can switch the weight units, but it doesn't look like you can switch the altimeter. Although what we could probably do is we can cheat, because we can put in here and it'll tell us what it is. So it's 1016, which is 3000. Although it's the landing barrow, so let's get the landing barrow for Corfu, which is 1014. So this is the cheating conversion, so 29904. So it's only doing it. Doesn't have like the subdecimals, but we'll round it down. And then landing altitude was it's 6 feet, so we'll just go for 0. Excellent. Ah, yeah, we need to open the cross feeds as well. Oops. And then cabin temperature to desired temperature for the air conditioning panel. So we'll leave it on auto, that's absolutely fine. Happy with that. Yeah, so because it's in... Yeah, that's fine. We don't need to do that bit. We'll go back to default view. So flight director's on. Speed we've set to the V2 speed. This is all on the glare shield and the autopilot settings. Set the correct altimeter. Which is 1016. And that changes all the altitude readouts. And then our other lights, so we want our position light on. Not our strobe, just yet. We can skip out the fire tests, and then we go to the thrust rating panel. So select takeoff. And then we need to put on the hydraulic pressure pumps. To down here. I don't know why they're down here, but it doesn't matter. And yeah, so that's fine. And the transfer hydraulic pump on as well. We've done the fuel, everything's right. Yeah. That is not correct. Just change the 0 fuel weight with our reference. A lot more prep on the MD-80 than I remember. Okay, so 0 fuel weight was 115,346. $115,300, and then that will change the gross weight, which we know is 130, so that's correct. And then it's just telling us how to program the FMC, which we've already done. It's pretty standard. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll just... Is that right? Yes, that looks correct. Okay. Just check the altitude restrictions. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, I clicked approach, not takeoff. So set the CG 10 in our case, as we've seen in the FMC page, and takeoff flaps. In this case, that'll be 15 due to the short runway. We don't need 15, we can go 11. So our flap will be 11. And CG was 2. So get the trim. Let me just get so I can see what I'm doing. So you can just see that's moving down to 9. There we go. I can't remember how it works out what flap you're using for the takeoff speeds. This isn't the perf page. No, that's takeoff ref. Because it doesn't actually ever ask you what your takeoff flaps are. I can't see it there, so it's a bit strange. But anyway, we'll trust it. Okay, and then we don't need to sort our radios, we'll just make sure the TCAS is in standby. Pneumatic cross-feed valves we've already opened. So we can close the doors. And get rid of our cargo loaders, and we'll start the APU. So start pump to on, and then where's the APU? There it is. To start. And then once that's started, we can switch over to the APU for startup. Okay, so the APU's powered up. So switch over to the APU for power and make sure that the aircon's on. Keep those passengers nice and cool. And we'll get rid of the ground power. Actually, it's probably just do this way, isn't it? So dismiss the GPU. And that's good to go. So just do the engine start checklist. So parking brakes on, anti-collision lights we can turn on now. They're down here, aren't they? Fuel pumps are on. Ignition switch to system A or B, depending on what you want to do. Let's call the pushback truck.
Grounded cockpit. Tow is driving up.
No idea why they're why they're American. Not to worry. So there seems to be ground handling traffic jam behind us.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Very seductive. Just arming the LNAV. VNAV doesn't seem to be working just yet, so we'll sort that out when we're in the air.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
1 second. Just getting the checklists up. Just so we can do that in a second. Okay, so let's release the parking brake. It's on this side, isn't it?
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
So, air conditioning off, and right engine start valve open, and then we're up to 21%, and then we can introduce the fuel. Almost there. And that'll do. And that's good start, and switched over to the gen for the number 2 engine, so we can start engine number 1 now. Come on, there we go. Such a slow startup. So there's 20, almost there. That's 21. And that's another good start. So we can get the APU off now. And get the air conditioning back on.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
And the after
start
start checklist. So electrical system's fine. Galley power and ignition. Oh, galley power is there. And ignition's off. And anti-ice is not required. Fuel heat we can turn on. Packs and air conditioning switch shutter valves are on auto already. Hydraulics are on and high, and we've already done that. That's all checked. And then give the push the signal to disconnect. Ooh, something about the cockpit voice recorder is not running. Oh well. So taxi chat list, flaps to take off.
And bypass bin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time, and have a safe flight.
Auto brakes to projector takeoff. Spoilers armed. Flight controls. You can't see the spoiler. The yoke. There we go. Full left, full right, full forward, and full back. Rudder. Full left, full right. Takeoff data source set. Takeoff warning. Good question. Can't remember where it is. I'll have to skip this one. Can't see where it is. Give it 2 seconds. If I can't find it, I'll leave it. Nope, can't find it. Unless it's not one of these. No. Okay. And then everything else is complete. Excellent. It might say in the it doesn't actually say in the tutorial where it is. Okay, so let's get taxi. So we're going to basically where that aircraft is, that British Airways. I'll get the map up just so you can follow where we're going. So we're here. We just need to go. Take our next left and then taxi up towards runway 25. So park and brake off. The only thing I don't like about the Rotate MD-80, it's a very good sim. Oh, just casually being driven through. The only thing about the MD-80 I don't like is the sounds. They're a bit disappointing. Hello Boris, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you again. The MD-80 is lovely, yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, the sounds are horrible. It's like the almost like the default aircraft. I don't think there's a sound pack available for the Rotate MD-80. I'm gonna look. Not a ground speed indicator in the MD-80 either. Doesn't look like it. It's like the 727 doesn't have one either. Sorry for getting dropped frames. Seems to be just a bit of an issue with my internet provider at the moment. It's not great. I'll have to look into that. Just make sure we're not supposed to be taking this next. No, it's not next left. Surprised there is no ground speed indicator. They seem to have pretty much everything else. Unless I'm just not seeing it. V1 and VR should be similar to the 737. Yeah, I would have thought so. It's quite fast, to be honest. I mean, we're heavy today, and it's obviously a hot airport, but V speeds, I'll get that back up again. So yeah, I mean, they're probably a tad faster than 737, but then maybe if it's fully loaded. I haven't flown from like a hot country in a 737 for a little while, so probably is roughly equivalent. So we'll just get the crossfeeds off before we'll take off. Is that the override setting down there? Yeah, so go ignition's override. Enunciator's looking fine. TCAS will get on now. Get the strobes on now. Clear left, clear right. Lovely little window which helps you work out if you're good to go. So landing lights on. Quite a short runway, but we'll be fine, I'm sure. Pretty powerful aircraft. So just setting the throttles in the takeoff position, and just let us settle. So up to 1.4 EPR. Just to make sure everything's nice and synchronized. That's looking good. Auto throttle on. And let's get going. There's 100. Remember whether there's call-outs for V1 and VR on this aircraft. There's V1. Rotate, so the answer is no. Gear up. I'll just pitch up just to maintain V2. Start to make a right turn.
Traffic.
I was just there now with that aircraft we just saw on the other runway. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's, after takeoff, engage nav, set climb mode on the thrust rating panel. There we go, there's VNav now on. Don't know why, there must be an altitude restriction on when it can be activated. And then we'll go flaps up. So ignition to off now. Disarm the spoilers. Set the auto brake to off. Where is it again? There. Let's do the takeoff checklist. So gear is up, lights are out. Ignition we've switched off. Flaps are up and slats are up, lights are out, and it's all stowed. Hydraulics, we'll switch to low. And transfer off. And spoilers and auto brake system are disarmed and off. Lovely. Sunny day in Rome. So we'll go to standard. We leave Rome well behind us already. Those dirty engines. We are rocketing up. Such a powerful aircraft. There's Rome's over to our left. A little bit bumpy. So there's 10,000, so we'll switch off the landing lights. And where's the passenger signs are over here, aren't they? Yep, so we'll go to auto on the seatbelt sign as we accelerate up. Off those rudder pedals now. And up we go. So like I said, not too long a flight. About an hour, just over an hour. So I think our ETA that's displayed on the stream is about right. 16-18 Zulu time. Orbex need to release some more European scenery for X-Plane, make it look a bit more interesting. Although I'm quite enjoying the significantly higher frames I'm getting as a result. So about to make our left turn here. We'll increase the range on the map display. like I said, we've got a bit of a weird. We kind of do a bit of a backtrack and then carry on towards Corfu. Hope you're enjoying the video so far. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you're liking what you're seeing and you want to watch some more, do subscribe. Hit the little bell icon if you want to be notified of when I'm streaming. Get some ortho scenery for around here. So there's the airport down there, just disappearing out of view. I like the attention to detail with some of the aspects though, with that little window shade that you can use. But like I said, I think the only thing that this aircraft lacks is the sounds. I think they could definitely do a lot better with the sounds. Have a quick Google. I don't think there is a sound pack. There's a custom engine sounds on the org forums, but. Oh, actually, no. Fair enough. It sounds like they've done recordings from the original aircraft, so that might be worth checking out. People have commented that it's pretty good. I'll put it just in case anyone's interested. I might check that out after I finish streaming. Already at 21,000 feet. Rocketing up. Let's have a look outside. it's the end of the start. It's the end of the SID. Sorry. So we'll be tracking almost pretty much directly across to Corfu now. So initially we're climbing like a rocket, but it seems to have settled down a little bit. It's probably just the initial bit when we were limited to 250 knots, and now we're going significantly faster. It's all slowing down quite considerably. So in terms of streams today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this stream. It's quite a short one, and then probably around about 7 o'clock we'll do another one. Choice is completely up to you guys. We can either do the return leg from Corfu back to Rome, or we can do something completely different. We can do a different aircraft, whatever. I'm open to suggestions. If I don't get anything, I'll come up with something myself. That is looking amazing out there. xEnviro, it really does take a lot out of your frame rate, but it does look pretty damn good when it's working well. We complete this bizarre SID, and then we'll settle down, and it's pretty straightforward afterwards. So it doesn't actually. So I was reading through the information around the engine control panel, and although there does seem to be a cruise select button, you just seem to change. You just seem to stay in the climb the whole flight. So that seems fine to me. How's the stream quality looking? Because I keep getting messages from YouTube basically saying that it was fluctuating, and OBS does seem to be reporting that there's a few dropped frames, but obviously you guys are the ones who are actually seeing it. Don't know if you're noticing any issues. Not far till top of cruise. I love that noise. But the what she called it? What's the name of the caller? It's moaning something. Bitching Betty, that's it. I love those sounds. I can't wait for the Rotate MD-11 to come out, and then it'll be very nostalgic. It's gonna be such a good aircraft. I can't wait. I think it's probably one of my favourite aircraft, up there with either the BAE 146, Avro RJ series. They're pretty cool as well, and I think Just Flight are producing their own now, which would be pretty cool. So it's an upgrade from their. So they released the BAE 146 for B3D and FSX, but they're releasing like a professional edition for both, which from the looks of things will include a more detailed avionics package. So I think they're going to include an FMC on this one. So that'll be pretty cool. And like I said, they're releasing it for X-Plane as well. So can't wait to get my hands on that. And the MD-11 as well. So we'll just go a little bit higher on the range. Top of descent's about 180 nautical miles now. Probably get it on the progress page. Oh, we haven't hit top of cruise yet, so that's why we're not getting a top of descent. But in terms of Corfu, 1621 Zulu is our ETA. So an extra 12 minutes from what the stream's indicating. Don't be afraid to ask me any questions in the chat if you're, wondering about something. Either what we're, about anything about the MD-80, or whether you want to request any streams or anything. Don't be afraid. Ask me anything. That's what I mean about the default scenery. That's why Orbex is so good, making it just look that bit more alive. So I think next time I might just see if I can get some ortho scenery for around here. Hi Mike, welcome to the stream, nice to have you on board. Excuse me. Still over the country land of Italy. boring, generic farm fields provided to us by X-Plane. She's an old bird, but a pretty bird. I love the wear and tear that Rotate have included. Oh, that is a hell of a view. Yeah, you definitely get the age on the front of the aircraft. Just bring that map display down a little bit actually now. Get a bit more detail. Getting a bit cloudy. Very controversial in Italy. Not glorious sunshine. Gonna get it for FS Extreme. Is it really that bad? I mean, it was made by Dovetail, wasn't it? So I'm not surprised. It's crap. I never got it myself. Was that the Madog? What was it called? It was like an Italian name, wasn't it? Leonardo Madog or something like that. Did look very good, to be fair. I almost bought it, but then it kind of seemed pointless at the time because it was only out for FSX at the time, and then when I left P3D, they then released it for P3D, so I could have got it in the end, but it doesn't matter. I'm happy with the Rotate version. Ah, finally. It's taken its sweet time, but we're almost at cruise altitude. Yeah, well, it had the old out of memory issue, didn't it? Because it was like a 32-bit system. It's just a pile of shite. Leonardo, yeah, I thought it was. I mean, like I've said it in the previous streams, but that's what drove me from P3D, because I had P3D version 3, and it was still the 32-bit system, and I just kept getting out of memory areas, particularly if you're going into high-density areas like London. It was just impossible. So I just got so frustrated with it. Eventually I just made the plunge and went to X-Plane, and then you know what? I don't regret it at all. It's an excellent simulator. Well, exactly. I think I had 16 gigs of RAM at that time as well, and it was just so. I mean, it wasn't using it. It wasn't using your RAM. It wasn't using your CPU properly. Horribly optimized. Yeah, it was just no fun at all. The flight model was just like flying on rails, so that was the big thing I loved about switching to X-Plane, was just how realistic it felt when you're flying the aircraft. And we are at top of cruise. Excellent. So we slow down. Auto throttle's going a bit crazy. Actually not too long till we hit top of descent. It's quite a nice length flight this actually. I thought Rome to Corfu would be a lot longer than it is. Really, yeah. That's the other thing. I kind of missed out on the Quality Wing 787. No, I basically followed its development, and it probably came out about 3 months after I ditched P3D, which is a bit of a shame. It's nice having a VAS monitor, but when you can't really do very much about it, it's a bit pointless, really. I am really tempted to go back to P3D. Just now they've gone to a 64-bit system, but I just find it quite difficult because even with the add-ons that I bought for it, you know, I basically can't use them anymore because they've, as people have asked for, you to pay basically again for the version 4 stuff. Like I had a look at, I think, so I could get the Majestic Dash for version 4, but then like things like the FS to Crew, you need to pay again, and you know, all my like weather software I'm gonna have to pay for it again and stuff. It just kind of got to the point where I was like, well, as tempting as it is to go back and then use both sims, it's just going to be a case of sinking a whole load of money back into it again. Is that chase plane itself uses all the RAM? Because that's ironic, really. Here, we'll show you this VAS monitor, but we'll also add considerably to your VAS. Yeah, I wonder if there's the streaming issues because of Virgin. They claim they don't throttle your upload, but I'm not entirely convinced. Because I wasn't having this problem before, and then I've done a few streams, and then all of a sudden I'm having issues with loads of dropped frames. Exactly, it's eye-watering actually. If you go back and have a look at how much you spent on add-ons, it's crazy. I think I've easily spent over £1,000 on add-ons for P3D, and probably getting close to that for X-Plane as well. Although one of the big advantages, other than the flight model for X-Plane, is the quality of the freeware airports is so good. You know, the ones that are included in X-Plane, pretty much every airport has a fairly decent 3D, well, 3D airport, I guess, and all the buildings and everything. Whereas with FSX, if you didn't have an add-on and the airport wasn't included in the default scenery, then it's crap. So yeah, I just spent a fortune on airport scenery. The problem is, once you start buying airport scenery, you can't go back to the default stuff, even like the freeware stuff. Have they added additional ones into P3D then? Like additional default airports? Okay, well, we're not a million miles away from our top of descent, so what I'll just do is get our... just close some of these charts down, and then we'll get our approach info up. Move. Oh, you can't seem to move it. It's a shame. Right, so our final altitude is odd, 2,900 feet. The old scroll wheel strikes again, so 2,900. Oh, how do you... go to hundreds of feet? Oh really? Oh, actually that's quite decent. I don't think they had that in version 3. Right, what am I missing? There must be a button. To switch between thousands and hundreds of feet. Can't see it there. If not, 3,000 feet will do. It's basically the same anyway, isn't it? Yeah, I can't see any. Usually there's like either a button on the actual selector itself or an additional button next to it that tells you how to switch between them. We'll just stick it at 3,000 unless any of you know how to fix that. And then we'll go to the approach page. And we'll go flaps 40. Let's see what the winds are. Well, I don't know how you... unless you just do it manually. Nope, you can't move those bugs. So I guess you just got to remember the number then. Let's see what the winds are. What is that? 6 knots, we can put 5 in. Yeah, I don't know how you change the bug to indicate the VREF. I guess you just got to memorise it. And we'll just get the frequency and heading, frequency and course for the VOR. So it's 343. And 108.8. Ah, there we go. So you left click and drag rather than using the scroll wheel. Fixed. So not long now, sorry. Top of descent. I feel like we're still over Italy, that's quite surprising. I'll go to the map page and find out. So we're just load. Just skimming along the heel of Italy, and then I guess it's just a short flight over to Corfu. Don't know how you, like I said, I don't know how you activate the approach speeds unless you just don't. Yeah, see if I can Google that as well. MD-80 VREF speed. Yeah, I can't see anything there. What we can do is just put the decision height in whilst we're waiting. Decision height. That's crazy high. I guess it is a VOR approach. 19904. Mental. I don't even know if it goes up that high. Yeah, I think it goes up to 500 feet. Well, it's 500 now. So I'll just show you how you do a VOR approach. Strictly speaking, obviously we should be doing it from the GAR transition, which would be essentially the airport VOR, and then we do, like I said, you do like a teardrop approach pattern. We're coming in directly in, so we'll be using to the DME because at 9 we should be at 2,900 feet. And then DME 8.8 is when we start our descent down. Gives you, suggested descent angle to descent for each speed at that distance. We'll likely be somewhere in between. Well, what was it? So it was 133 was our VREF. So we'll be looking probably around about 800 feet per minute. And once we get close enough, obviously the PAPI lights will be giving us a visual indication of where we need to be as well. It's obviously a lot more challenging than a standard ILS, so it should hopefully make it a little bit more interesting. I'll just bring in that range once again. Not long at all now to top of descent. 10 nautical miles. It's a shame you can't kind of manually move these bugs. At least, if it's not going to do it automatically, at least gives you a reference point. Just have to put it into the autopilot, obviously. Still over Italy, so top of descents before we've even started crossing. I'm assuming it's the Adriatic, or at least the Mediterranean. I went to Corfu when I was a teenager, and I do remember you can actually see on a clear day. Was it Italy that you could see, or was it Greece? It's probably, actually, having thought about it, it was probably more likely to be. Actually, no, it wasn't Greece. It would have been. Is it Bulgaria? No, can't possibly. Can't be Bulgaria, surely. So that's Corfu. Oh, that's not very helpful. Is it Croatia, maybe then? This is my my geography knowledge being tested now. Let's have a little look. It's Albania. That was it. It's Albania that you can see. Bulgaria. Bulgaria is further east. So yeah, no, ignore me. You couldn't see Italy, but you could see Bulgaria. For those of you who joined and missed what I was saying earlier, I'll be doing another stream tonight, probably around about 7 o'clock. I'll do whatever I feel like doing, unless you guys come up with some suggestions on what you'd like to see. I'm completely open to requests or anything. Like I said, otherwise I'll just think of something interesting to do. Down we go. I mean, what we can actually do is, going back to the approach, we'll get the chart back up again for your reference. You can actually select one of the speeds, so we could even, I mean obviously it's a ground speed, not a true indicated airspeed, but we can go for kind of a rough estimate. Like I said, usually about 130, 140 is a descent rate for like a 3.5 degree angle. It's usually about 800 feet per minute is the correct descent altitude. But looking at the weather today, we're probably not even going to have to use the instrument approach all that much because it's going to be so clear. So coming in from VMAT. Just remind myself. That's the wrong one. It's this one that we're after. So we're kind of going to have to go off, we'll do our own kind of vectors essentially to intercept the ILS, but not talking about ILS VOR. We're not doing an ILS landing today. So we'll be looking at, what's that heading? 257 is it? The runway is 343. So somewhere around just going to try and do some maths in my head and angles. Actually, we'll be going in that direction, won't we? Because that's the runway heading is 343, so that's going off that way. So we'll be turning right, actually. Which is indicated on our display there, so we'll be coming kind of from this direction. We'll work it out when we get a bit closer. And now we are over the ocean. Just under 80 nautical miles to the airport, so not long to go. Yeah, I do actually. Oh, actually, no, sorry. You can't. I don't know how you do that. You know, I've been looking into it to see if. So I know a few streamers have it. You know, you predict a figure and then the closest person gets, gets mentioned. I've got a notification on my stream that tells you what my landing rate is, but nothing that you can like a virtual game that you can do in the chat. If you can tell me how to do it, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I've seen a few people do it. It was quite cool. I'll after the stream, I'll look into it, see if we can get it set up for the next one. I'm wondering if it's some kind of like pole or something that they've basically adapted to work with the landing rate. So we'll get the landing lights on, the seatbelts on. Landing lights we can hold off for a little bit longer. Okay, like I said, I'll have a look into it. The only downside is I can't imagine it's easy to find on the internet, because obviously it's not the most common thing that people will be trying to get on their stream. But I'll see if I can work out how to do it. What's the transition altitude? 5,000. Okay, so we'll do the in-range checklist. So hydraulics, we switch on and on to high. Altimeters will set when we're closer to the transition altitude. Seatbelt signs are on. Landing data, bugs and TRP. Well, I've tried setting the bugs, but it doesn't actually seem to do anything. Oh, it's on it now. Ah, I must just do it automatically then. Excellent. Wonderful. Okay, so that's all set. Pressurization, anti-ice is set. Pretty much we don't need to do anything. Approach briefing complete. We set our radios and our altimeters and bugs, like I said, already set, or we will set at the altimeter when we're close to transition altitude. And then the last checklist is the landing check. So we'll set our heading just on the right direction that we will be going. I'll argue that's probably round about right once we've gone past VMAT. Once we go past VMAT, we'll switch it onto the vertical speed mode and then the manual speed on the IAS auto throttle. But in the meantime, feel free to do a prediction, and then we'll just manually see who's closest. We're approaching 10,000. That's Corfu just looming in the distance. So we've got the landing lights on now. Starting to get a bit bumpy as we hit the walls. So the DME is active. We're about 30 nautical miles from the VOR station now. Just introduce a little bit of speed brake because we need to slow down. There we go. Good, good, good. So we'll switch over to the altimeter now, which is 1014. It's very bouncy. That is a crazy path. We're going to be doing our own vectors. So it's FD, yeah, so I think our heading seems reasonable. So where's the heading select? No, it's not that one. Should be. Ah, there we go. Okay. So we'll just go a little bit further right on the heading select. This also, and the MD-80 is a bit bizarre. We'll maybe just go a little bit further right. Just want to intercept course. We'll go vertical speed. Flight planner, I use PFPX. It's payware, but it does a very good job. I think if I hadn't bought it, I probably would be using SimBrief. It seems pretty good as well. So we'll slow down to 180. I'll just slowly get us down to the right speed and we can start introducing some flap. So we'll go slats down. 15. Just get that approach chart up so we've got some reference. So when we're about 10 or 11 we'll make our left turn in. So we're at 10 now, maybe a little bit further. Yeah, we'll make a left turn now. And VOR hold is selected. And just as a reminder, so when we're at DME 8.8, that's when we'll start our descent. Get the ignitions onto override. Arm the spoiler. And auto brake to low. There's the airport. As we intercept the VOR. So let's get going down. So we'll go to 800 and we'll go to speed of, what was the, so 138. Gear down. And flaps, was that 20? Yeah. Full flaps. Yeah, no, it is a bit of a weird approach, but I don't understand why they don't have an ILS. It's quite surprising. Go back up to -800. We're still a little bit high, actually. We'll go back down to 1,000. And what I'll do is... Where's the autopilot? Take the autopilot. Okay, it's pretty much visual now. Just looking for those puppies. There we go, there's one. Just bring the nose up a little bit. And we'll do the landing checklist. So gear down's 3 green, ignitions are overrides, spoilers are armed, and auto brake systems in the correct position, and flaps are 40, and landing is indicated, and enunciator, and everything is fine. Let's go up to 800. I'll just get a little bit higher up in the seat. Let's take the auto throttle. Bit of a bounce. Full reverse. There's 80 knots side or reverse, and we'll take manual brakes. Excellent. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll take this next clear up. And we'll get the APU online. Get the auto brake off. Oh, it didn't idle the throttles. Get rid of the reversers properly. I didn't actually see the landing rate. What was that? Get the pitos off. And we'll just get up the after landing checklist. So pitot heat and ignition. Oh yeah, we just need to turn off the ignition. Is off. Exterior lights, yeah, so we'll get rid of the landing lights and the strobes. And where are we? Yep, TCAST off. And spoilers and auto brakes, yep, so I've sorted all that. Excellent, so let's park up. As usual, what we'll do is we'll do some replays. I don't know how you get these warnings off. It's a bit of a weird parking system, but we'll work it out. Take the next left. Corfu is a lovely looking bit of scenery. It's FlyTampa. So glad they've made the transition into X-Plane. So we take the next right and park up. Mr. Hertz bus has come and parked up already for us. Oh no, he's off now. It's good to say, I thought that was a bit too fortuitous. Okay, so a little bit further forward, and then we can shut down and get that replay. This will do. Oh, parking brakes over here in the MD-80. Right, so let's get the engines off. Anti-collision light off. Seatbelt signs off, wherever they are again. Here they are. And get the fuel pumps off. And then the hydraulics as well. Over here. Don't know why they're down here, not on the overhead panel. Great, well guys, I hope you liked that video and that landing. If you've enjoyed what you've seen so far, do subscribe. Hit that like button on the video, it does help me a lot with my analytics. And if you do subscribe, hit the little bell and then you'll be notified when I'm subscribing. But otherwise, well, I'm streaming, but otherwise I'm just going to do some replays and then we'll wrap up this stream. I'll be streaming again tonight, probably around about 7ish. It's 5:30 now. Yes, I think 7 sounds reasonable. If I don't get any suggestions or requests, then I'll come up with something myself. But let's wrap this up and let's go to the replays. Thanks very much, guys. Do like my Facebook page because I'll be notifying you about when I'll be streaming a little bit later on. Yeah, let's wrap this up, and thanks again. I'll see you later. Cheers.